Welcome to the Snap Material Podcast. My goodness, it is September already, and we are going to bring to you our discussion of last season, preview of next season, a live battle, our discussion on our unlocks for the season, and we will also be bringing you our top 5 one-cost cards all this week, so get prepared. I am Jesse Starcher, of course, with me this evening is Evan Bevins. Evan, we've been playing Snap, especially big in Japan, apparently, this past season. So are you ready to talk some Marvel Snap, buddy?
I am ready, and also just to warn everyone, do not fist bump Wolverine.
Oh,
that's one of my favorite titles in a while.
Yeah, that is a good one.
I was glad to get that one.
Yeah, you that was a Conquest exclusive, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Right. I played a little bit of Conquest.
You're bound to get prizes.
I played a little bit more Conquest this season, but not a whole lot more. I probably could have played a lot more, but I didn't. Well, let's go ahead and we'll jump right in to talking about last season, which was Big in Japan. So Big in Japan dropped August 7th of 2023, and we'll go through the cards here first, just kind of get an idea of what you ran into, if you ran into the cards very often, and anything that happened during the season to the cards themselves. Our first card we're going to talk about is Dakin, or Dakin. How were you pronouncing it? Dakin?
Christian always referred to him as Dakin.
Dakin.
He always pronounced it both ways just to cover his bases whenever he referenced the character.
Oh, and here I go pronouncing it like the band, Dakin. So, Dakin, 3 cost, 4 power card. On reveal, add the Muramasa, not the Mimosa, the Muramasa shard to your hand. And that, of course, if that gets destroyed or is discarded in any way, it doubles Dakin's power. This was the card that came with the season pass. So how about you there, Evan? Did you run into this very often?
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, pretty regularly. It wasn't one of those like some of the past season pass cards that was just everywhere. You know, it didn't fade away like Phoenix. I didn't really see it change games. I mean, it was definitely useful, but I think that's what we talked about when we were looking ahead at some of these cards. And I think for the Phoenix season is it was useful, but it didn't warp the entire metagame.
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't get the season pass. I don't think I ever got it unless maybe I got it as a random card once or twice. But I mean, I can definitely see how it'd be useful. It's one I'll probably take a shot at when it's in a spotlight cache or something like that.
Yeah.
Even though I really hope they put out more variants for it, because I don't know, that artwork just doesn't do it for me. There was a while that he was on the Dark Avengers. He was wearing the old Wolverine brown and tan costume.
Right.
That's how I used him a lot on Puzzle Quest. So that looks cool. He's also worn Wolverine's old Shi'ar costume, the Fang costume or whatever. I don't know. This is just like, generic shirtless guy with a mohawk.
Yeah. There were definitely some times where the Muramasa shard came out and doubled his power, and it definitely impacted the game I was playing. Normally, I was seeing it in destroyed decks. I think I may have seen it in a couple discard decks. It was mainly in destroyed decks. You usually would see the shard come out and then Killmonger or something shortly thereafter, or Carnage, something to get that shard destroyed. And it helps. That's another 4-point boost.
And if you can boost him up with Forge or somebody like that, it can get pretty powerful. He combines with a lot of cards. I think I've seen people play him on Wong or on Camartage so that he gets a couple Muramasa shards. I think somebody dropped him on Bar Sinister once. So there were a whole lot of shards out there.
Oh boy.
You can get creative with him.
All right, next up was Lady Deathstrike, 5 cost, 3 power card. On reveal, destroy each card here with less power than this. I thought this was going to be a card that would possibly be a game changer, but man, I can't say that I ran into this card very often, so it doesn't sound like there was a huge rush to go get her. I don't even remember the times that I did see her, me going, oh man, she's overtaken the game. How about you?
No, I remember her being played a couple times. I barely remember her having any impact. I mean, she works with Dakin. If you put the Muramasa shard out there, I know they buffed her in the last update up to a 5/4, I guess, to try to get people to use her a little more. And which that does make her a little more useful. I mean, I can see the effect being useful. I just when you're talking about 5-cost cards, I mean, Jesse, is she going to knock Legion out of your deck? I mean, I know you can put more than one in, but I'm just saying, are you gonna drop Legion or Blue Marvel or folks like that, or Kang?
Right.
Okay, nobody uses Kang. I tried. I made a nice go of it, but I'm just like, there's just other things I could do. I like the effect, but I don't. I think there are better options at 5 cost.
Yeah,
and come on, it's Lady Deathstrike. I mean, more interesting than MODOK, but.
You got a point. You've got a point. Yeah, I mean, she's definitely a combo card where the point is the reason why she costs so much is because if you can get her power up enough, she could possibly be a game changer. But you also got to think, I mean, if you Shuried Lady Deathstrike in some way, she's taking out Shuri once she gets put out there. So Shuri dies. Yeah. But, depending on whatever is on the other side, it can help you out tremendously. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And there's so many cheaper established ways to destroy Muramasa shards and Wolverines and Sabretooths and X-23s.
True.
She's not a better option than those.
All right, next up was X-23, a 1-cost 2-power card. When this is discarded or destroyed, it regenerated at a random location and you get +1 energy next turn. Yeah, I did see her a couple times, but nothing that made me go, oh man, here comes a crazy way I'm going to lose this, because there's so much energy that this next or this opponent has. So I wasn't too impressed. We'll just put it that way. How about you?
I got her in the Spotlight cache because I still haven't built back up to 6,000 tokens. But I got her out of the Spotlight cache, and I immediately started putting her in decks. And she works fine. I mean, she's kind of like Wolverine. She does what she's supposed to do, but you have to really, really trigger her a lot to actually make a huge difference. That's not to say she can't be useful, but she's just going to help out. She's not going to win it for you by yourself. Then again, with the 1-cost 2-power card, you don't really expect them to win the game except for M'Baku. So yeah, I mean, I think she did what she was supposed to do. I think pretty much when I run a destroy deck, which is every 5 minutes when I start losing a lot, she's going to be in there. I mean, she's as good to have in there as Nova and Deadpool. Okay, Deadpool has more potential, but I mean, those are, I usually have those if I'm running a destroy deck. Those are my 1-cost cards.
Right. Yeah.
So of course, again, I see these other decks. Of course, a lot of them are using Thanos, who comes with 874 1-cost cards. I don't know. Am I the weirdo for usually having like 3 1-cost cards in my deck?
No, I don't. I think you're fine. I think you're just fine.
That's not why I'm a weirdo.
No, it is not.
But yeah, I mean, she just makes sense to put in there to me. I mean, why would you leave Nova out if you were doing a destroy deck? Why would you leave Deadpool out? And now why would you leave X-23 out?
Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, it's a 1-cost card. It shouldn't be something that's world bending, or it's about making use of whatever they give you. Plus, I mean, you can't sneeze at getting an extra energy and keeping a card on the board and being able to keep playing like you have been, unlike Electro, who limits the amount of cards you can get. So
yeah,
devastating combos is probably what I shouldn't have been looking for. I should have been looking more along the lines of like, how useful was she? But again, I didn't see her very often, and it'll be fun, once she drops or gets in a deck. I'm starting to realize that there are a lot of cards here lately that, I mean, the way that they've set the season structure up and, dropping Series 3, Series 4, whatever, it's starting to become like there's quite a few cards I don't have.
Yeah.
Not a single one of these cards that got dropped in this season do I have. Of course, I didn't go out after any of them.
X-23 is the only one I was aiming for. Like I said, Deathstrike, not bad. Just I think there are other options. And Silver Samurai,
yeah.
I mean, I've gone through phases in my life and still do where I think Silver Samurai is cool, but usually if I lie down, drink some water, it passes.
Silver
I think
Samurai.
I did use him on Marvel vs. Capcom 2, was it?
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I think he had one of those, like, 100-hand slap Blanca electricity kind of attacks where you didn't have to have any skill, just press the button really fast. So
Nice.
I used him on that occasionally.
Okay. All right, then. Silver Samurai 4 cost 5 power card. On reveal, each player discards the lowest power card from their hand. That's important because it's the lowest power card that gets dropped out of there, which is deadly to Arnim Zola and deadly to our good buddy Iron Man.
Oh, yeah. Now, see, I totally read that as lowest cost. I have in my notes, originally I said it was Moon Knight meets Colleen Wing, and then I said it's actually Black Bolt meets Colleen Wing, and now I'm saying you should read the text of the card closer.
It's lowest. Yeah, it's lowest.
Because, yeah,
power.
he did take out Arnim Zola against me the other day.
Right. And again, this is another card that I know I ran into at least once or twice, but that's about it. Wasn't anything that I again thought, oh, here comes Silver Samurai. This is not Galactus level stuff.
It doesn't all need to be Galactus level stuff.
No, it does not. Let's talk about locations. So our first location was Valley of the Hand. After turn 5, your destroyed cards revive here. And I remember saying previously that this was going to be a fun time, kind of watching. I participated in the destroy deck fun by trying to get some of my cards off of there. I did have a fun, an interesting interaction where I legioned Valley of the Hand, and I mean, we destroyed card after card. And I got to, normally it's only going to pop up in one location. Well, I only had 3 locations. All my cards came back, which included, I think, a Green Goblin. And I ended up winning the game because the Green Goblin showed up and flew over to the other side. And then I think I had a second Green Goblin that ended up getting killed and flew to the other side as well. So anyway,
Nice.
it was a fun location to have out there. Got to watch all your cards kind of come back, and you had to kind of build a strategy around that, which I appreciate those locations. Those are the locations that I like, the ones that will definitely affect how the game is going to be played for 2 days, and then that's it.
I think when it was the featured location, that was when I was on my plot to make my bubble wrap deck work, which was just thwarting destroy decks. It didn't really work. I'm sure it was annoying, but I didn't really win many games with it. So a lot of times I would end up magicking Valley of the Hand or trying to fill up somebody's Valley of the Hand, with the goblin or debris rocks or something like that.
Smart.
So that they couldn't do it. I'm sure sometimes it worked out okay, but I never really built up any momentum with that or any other strategy this season. So
the next location, this one got a bit controversial. We talked about this last season, what this meant, how the wording of the card was. Yoshida Base said, at the end of the game, destroy the last card to get here. One of the things that I
says by any way it gets there.
Exactly. What is the last card that gets to that location? So, I posited, okay, we can start moving some things. Magneto could move some things. Arrow could move some things to that location. Those would be the last cards to get there. Usually, I'll go to bed, can't stay awake past, 10 o'clock, it seems like. But then I'll wake up at 3 a.m. And Tuesday night, the location pops up. I think it's like 11 o'clock. Of course, I'm in bed. But I wake up about 3 o'clock and I'm like, oh, it's time to try this Yoshida Base stuff out. I cannot remember the actual first time that I recognized what was happening, but I know I played Arrow and I arrowed over somebody and then Arrow got destroyed on Yoshida Base and I was fuming. I mean, fuming. So I immediately set up the deck to go and play again, and I was going to screen recorded the action go down, and you saw it. I sent it to you. It was a situation where Arrow brought over Apocalypse, and Apocalypse did not get destroyed, but Arrow did, and I was pretty upset. So I went to Reddit, and I was like, oh man, I'm just going to lay into, and I created that
for internet rage.
Oh yes. I posted a GIF of what happened, so anybody that just scrolled on by could watch this absurdity. Well, surprise, Evan, I was late to the game because there were already people railing against how that card was worded. Then things got weirder. I don't know at what point it was during the day that you sent me the picture, but I didn't really get a chance to look at what you sent me until I think 2 hours after you sent it to me, or maybe an hour or so.
Really hurts
And
that you don't drop everything you're doing to check messages from me.
I'm sorry, Evan. I am very sorry. But you send me the message
Fixing a washing machine or something.
I can't probably.
You're over there leading the internet mob against the failures of Yoshida Base, and I'm like, hey, a new location.
Oh yeah. Okay. So here it is. We were in the middle of talking about the list of what we were going to do for battles. So that was about 6:00 Wednesday night, and then about 8:00 you send me a picture, and you circled it through. Put it.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Yeah,
here's a yellow
now?
circle and a yellow arrow to the circle.
Yeah. Well,
and your exclamation was the what now? And I was like, what is going on? So at about that time, I look at it and Time Theater shows up. So at no point did anyone say anything. No Twitter drops, no nothing. And this location starts showing up in place of Yoshida Base.
yeah, I was seeing it quite a bit.
I don't know what happened there. There's a situation where they either got wind of like, hey, we screwed up on the wording. And here's the thing. Like when I posted my comment about Yoshida Base, there were a couple people that tried to argue like, okay, well, hey, this is what happens. And it was, I can't remember. Did you play Magic at all?
No.
Okay. All right. So
You're talking
Magic,
about the card game, not Colossus's little sister, because I play that
correct.
frequently. Too much, some would argue.
No, I'm talking about Magic the Gathering. I can remember back in like the mid to late 90s when I first started playing, you had to learn a concept called the stack. And the stack is like, okay, this guy played this card, but this ability or this card's ability resolves before this one and blah, blah, blah. It's all a bunch of confusing crap. Well, someone started laying the stack word out there again in regards to Arrow and how her ability resolves and why she died, like trying to justify why she died on a Yoshida Base. And I was like, no, bro, it says destroy the last card to get here. Arrow was there before Apocalypse showed up at Yoshida Base. Apocalypse should have died. That's the way it should have worked. And then it got
how many X-Men have said that, Jesse?
It got me thinking like, well, what was the developers' plans? The easiest and most direct, I'm sure, answer is that they meant to say the last card to be played here.
And I did, after you sent me that, I looked at it. Get here fits better than played. So maybe they just changed the word to make it fit, which is not the best way to go. But that
you're talking about for it to fit on the
for it to fit in the space.
Okay, yeah, and you're right. I mean, after all of these discussions, after all of these discussions that this development team has had in the past about card wording and what played and versus something else. I mean, they update their stuff usually at least every 2 weeks to try and clarify the text on some of these cards. They didn't see this coming. They didn't see people. Not only that, but like when you played this, when you test played this at this location, like the visual mechanics of the game would make you think that, hey, what I just read is exactly opposite of what I just saw, because I just saw Apocalypse get to that location last. They started to see kind of like the pushback on this, and somebody flipped a switch somewhere and was like, well, we're going to throw that one away for a few, and then just Time Theater all of a sudden becomes available. Yoshida Base is gone. So it was a really weird, interesting day. Go ahead, man.
I think you're missing the obvious possibility that Nathaniel Richards was messing around with time. Like, I don't know if you've ever read or watched any programs involving time travel, Jesse, but it can really have some unexpected effects.
And somebody did throw out there on Reddit, like, hey, this may actually be, even if it isn't, lean into that excuse.
Yeah.
If this was like, okay, yeah, we screwed up Yoshida Base, let's go ahead and flip one Time Theater, and then we can spin it like, oh yeah, by the way, we got some time travel shenanigans happening. That would be great. All right. So anyway, there is my rant about Yoshida Base. And I mean, we've had some weird stuff happen in this game. I think the only other thing that kind of hit this weird like frenzy level of like what is going on is watching Kitty Pryde actually break the game. But Anyway, did you have anything to add on Yoshida base?
I just didn't mess around with it. I that's usually where I played Magic.
Okay, all right.
It's like, I just don't even want to try to think about it. I did get so reliant on Magic at one point that I lost what could have been an epic comeback bid in a friendly game because he legioned away my seventh turn. Which is what I'd been doing earlier. Like, haha, you foolish people counting on a seventh turn when I've got Legion. And then he did it to me twice. And the last time thwarted a pretty awesome comeback.
How do you like that now? Yeah. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.